Imagine working full time, doing everything right, and still struggling to pay rent while your boss earns your entire yearly salary in a single day. That's the reality for millions of people in our economic system. So, my topic today is going to be why modern capitalism often puts profit over people and why that matters for all of us. I'm informed on this because I've researched this system using sources like Guardian's 2023 report on CEO, Oxfam's Global Inequality Report from 2024, economist Richard Wolff's research from 2022, and several studies from the Pew Research Center, which is a very reputable source, and United Nations, which is a global source that all people use. So today I'll explain how capitalism harms workers and how it increases inequality and what we can do to move toward a more fair system. So, first off, capitalism creates harm because it often values money over people's well being. A report from Guardian in 2023 shows that the average American CEO makes about 300 times more than the average worker. That's a statistic that makes the imbalance a little bit hard to ignore. Economist Richard Wolff, in his 2022 book, Democracy at Work, explains that profits come from workers' labor, but workers only get a small share of this back, while the majority then goes to the CEO who put in some work 10, 20 years ago and now gets to sit back and enjoy the fruits of his profit. So, as he puts it, as Richard Wolff puts it, workers produce the value, but others decide what to do with it. So this focus on profit leads to burnout, financial anxiety, and people feeling like they're just replaceable even after years at the same job. So, and this same system also leads to something even bigger, overall inequality. Capitalism also increases this inequality and insecurity for the whole society. According to Oxfam's Global Inequality Report, the richest 1% captured nearly two-thirds of all new wealth created since 2020. That's billions, hundreds of billions of dollars going to the top 1%, while we still have high unemployment rates, high poverty rates, high hunger rates, just an overall decrepit society that we could easily fix. Pew Research Center found in 2023 that a majority of Americans believe the economy only works for the wealthy. So, this example shows how a general amount of people still believe this and experience the system every single day. And this helps just to create the hopelessness, frustration, and tension between all the groups, especially when families struggle while these corporations still report record profits year after year, because that's all they aim for is growth, not stability. So the point of this speech is to find hope, not fear. So let's look at what we can actually change. There are ways to make capitalism more fair without replacing it. And one solution is supporting businesses that use ethical practices and fair wages. And according to Business Insider, worker cooperatives, where employees have ownership, actual ownership, and a voice in what happens to them in the company, create higher job satisfaction and usually more stability. Countries that protect workers better also show real success. The United Nations World Happiness Report ranks countries like Norway and Denmark among the happiest in the world, partly because they balance business profit with strong protections for ordinary workers. And this goes back to their socialist government, which is a more fair system for the average person because capitalism and communism are the two extremes of socialism, while socialism is this big general gray area that most people don't understand. And they usually think of socialism as then communism, which it's not whatsoever. But facts don't mean much unless we can picture the impact. So, the system we're living in right now, if nothing changes, the gap will get bigger, stress will grow, and most people will fall further behind, while the few just continue to get richer. But if we start to support fair wage practices, like maybe a progressive tax plan, or vote for policies that protect workers and pay attention to where our money goes, we can shift toward a system that starts to value people just as much as profit. So just imagine a world where working full time actually guarantees stability, not stress. Because most full time workers who probably work more than 40 hours a week still struggle to buy food for their kids, pay their bills, and just really do anything in life since money is the catalyst for any activity, pretty much. So today I explained how capitalism harms workers and it creates inequality, and how we can support solutions that actually put people first. My call to action is pretty simple. Support companies with fair labor practices, stay educated about economic issues, and use your vote and your voice to push for a fairer system. We don't have to tear down capitalism, but we can reshape it into something that actually works for everyone. You should work to, or work should give you dignity, not stress. So if we choose to act, we can build an economy that actually values people just as much as the profit is valued. Thank you.